Welcome to Catfish Weekly on with the Chad. I'm Lyle and Chad. We got Chris on with us from El Gato tonight, and we're going to have a
Welcome,
great
Chris.
show. We got a bunch of stuff we need to talk about. So, what do you say we start off by going through what we have in chat and talking to everybody a little bit?
All right. Well, I won't just talk about what we have in chat because there's probably all kinds of smack talk in here. So I'll talk about who is in chat. How about that? All right. We've got Mr. Big Mike. We've got Mike Sampson, a.k.a. Sampy. We got Richard from Fishing and Freedom. El Gato. What do you're on the show. You don't have to be in chat.
I'm not, I don't even know how to work that, buddy. I just came in there to say hello to a couple of my buddies.
Good thing you sure can catch some fish. All right.
Thanks, man.
We got Killer B Outdoors, Reeling Raiders Outdoors, Mark from Catfish and Crappie, who will be on after this with, I believe, Eric Massey, correct?
Yes.
So, yeah, we got that coming up. We got Jason Lamb, Carolina Catfish, John Patrick Jr.
Come in here and say hello.
The Real Shino.
I don't want to say hello.
Okay,
we got Avid Fisherman, Mike Irvin.
Come here.
Brian B. I know you like these, but Brian B. Catfishing's in here.
Jeremy Coven, 3+1, David Smith, Fishing with the Squirrel, Creole, Ryan Bortz, Dan Thompson.
Guys, when we kick this thing off, this is my number one fishing partner.
All right.
I've seen him on there a couple of times.
Tell him what your name is. What do we call you?
Jackson.
Jackson what? Action Jackson the what?
The tornado.
Action Jackson, the Texas Tornado.
That's right.
Go, Action Jackson, the Texas Tornado. I like it.
Any guys that have seen any of my stuff, you're going to recognize this wild little guy.
That's exactly right. We got Lynn and Joy Stewart and Trophy Seekers Outdoors and Philip Williams, Chrissy Brown, LG Bass, Mike Irwin. Did I say Lynn? He's in there.
Yep.
Glad to see Lynn back in our chats. It's nice to have him back again. Big Jake's Catfishing, Lance Pacou guy. There's your sister Betty and my adopted daughter Betty.
Mr. Ryan Bortz.
Maurice Kaysen. Pontoon Jody.
Let me get down here where you're at. There we go. No worry. I'll say hi to Miss Cindy. Hey, Cindy.
Philip Williams, Mad Catter Catfishing.
Richard.
John Patrick Jr. Annette Morgan.
Yes. Go in there and play, buddy.
All right, we got 3+1. We've got Palmetto Cats, Philip Williams. I think you might have said Sean Abney, Jordan Lear Outdoors,
Ian Tipton.
Oh, we have to say happy birthday, Miss Sandy from Silver Fox Fishing.
Patriot James has made it in there, Fishing and Freedom. Did you say Mike Sampson? Man, it's going so fast. Mr. Kitty Whippers. Alan, dang it. Alan Imicus. I hope I got that right.
I don't think you did.
Okay.
Kevin Waymeyer's my uncle.
Right.
You can try. There's Kevin with Palmetto Cats.
We got Catfish Kyle, not to be mistaken with Catfish Lyle.
That's right. Silver Fox Fishing Sandy.
I think we've pretty much got them all there, brother.
I think we do. And if we missed you, we're sorry. Oh, Chunky.
Yep, we got Chunky, and I see him Fishing with the Squirrel. All right. I think we're good for now. We'll try to say holler at some people here in a little bit.
Exactly right.
A lot of my friends are in here. Thanks for coming in, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Glad to have them all in here because we're going to talk about some things that's going to go on down in your area here in just a little bit. But before we start with that, why don't you tell us a little bit about your day on the water yesterday?
Oh, man. Well, my buddy that fished with me is Killer B, and he's in here. We tried a different lake yesterday, Lake Lavon. It's a East Texas lake. It's pretty good catfishing lake. It's
I'd say
not the deepest lake. It's about 40 feet deep, but me and Bill were going to go fishing Sunday, and and I went to go get bait on my lake, and everything was out in 40 feet. My lake's 60 feet, and we got about 10,000 acres of deep water. So I was like, you know what, Bill, let's go to a 40-foot lake and see what we can do. And so I got good bait, and he's like, I'm down, man, let's do it. And we loaded up and went to Levon that morning, and we ended up catching 485 pounds of blues yesterday. It was
that's a hell of a day.
It was a barn burner of a day, man. It was awesome.
It was.
I was telling you before, I was out on the frozen tundra of the Ohio yesterday, freezing to death, and every time I'd open up YouTube and you'd be on, it would show you with another fish up in the camera, and I'm sitting there going, I couldn't even buy a bite yesterday. I was like, goodness gracious.
Yeah, it was a good time. There's one point where my 6-year-old caught a 23, and I think Bill caught a 20, and I had a teener, and we all got to hold up a fish at the same time. I think that was my favorite part of the day, is getting my boy to catch one. He's the only fish he caught, but it was cold, and he didn't get out from under that blanket till, I don't know, it was probably 2:00 before he crawled out from under there. But when he did, he got him a good one, and it's always fun when you got a little kid on the boat and they're catching a pretty good sized fish. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, Lyle says it all the time. That's our next generation of folks that are going to take over for us. So
I love helping those kids and getting them going on it, and getting them excited about catching big fish. And it's just, it's a feather in my cap when I can get a kid on the boat and get him a new PB.
That's right. Before we go, I had highlighted this earlier, Lyle, and forgot to bring it up, but welcome Kevin Waymeyer to the Catfish Weekly family.
Kevin is my uncle.
Remember?
He's your uncle?
Kevin became a new member of the channel.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Minigun, and then you got to go.
Again, happy birthday to Silver Fox
Minigun, and he's going to go.
Heck yeah.
All right, buddy.
Do you have any extra ones of them?
I know, right?
Now you know why we call him the Texas Tornado.
Heck yeah. He kind of a tornado on that boat.
I'm pretty proud of the kid. He's been coming with me since he was a year and a half. But when he turned about 2, he's when he really started coming more, frequently, and every trip basically now. But he'll go all day with me. And 3 weeks ago, we took him to Lake Tawakoni, which is probably our best fishery in Texas. And he popped a 44 and got the thing in the boat. And the kid only weighs 48 pounds. He got the 44 in the boat.
Wow. That's amazing.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Heck
We got it on video. I was proud of that kid, man.
Oh, that makes some great shows right there. It really does. Well, tell us about your upcoming event you got coming up this summer.
So I put on a catfish get together. It's called Azul's. This one's going to be called Azul's Spring Catfish Get Together 2022. We had one last fall. It's a event to help bring our local catfish community together. Try to get people, connected. So I know the catfish community is huge in other parts of the country, but for whatever reason here in Texas, it's been lacking. We have a good tournament scene, but just, the interaction between regular guys and, higher level catfish anglers has just not been there. So I've been trying to get this thing kind of, going in the right direction. And so we put this event on for that, but not only that, it's to help promote our sport to the next generation of anglers, junior anglers. We put on a big fish competition and a small fish competition, and we give out prizes. What's really cool is this year we've got Mad Cats to help sponsor some of our prizes. We've got rods. They gave us rods. Let's see. We got a bolt. We're going to give away a bolt. We're giving away a Patriot. And this one's called the Gold Rush. Everybody knows what Mad Cats is, but I'll tell you what, they not only make a great rod, but the guys that are running that thing, they are first class, man. I'll tell you. And when I told them I was putting on this junior angler event, they were more than happy to help, get us some prizes. And we got battle rattles and rags and hats and decals and everything. We're going to give them away to these kids. And I'm excited to be able to give away some of my favorite equipment and be able to put it in some of these kids' hands. I know it's going to be an awesome day, man.
It sounds like awesome. A big deal, yeah.
Lyle, I think you and Dockery should shave and go down. You could probably get in you walk right into the junior anglers program.
Well, if Dockery wasn't so short, I probably could, but he'd probably think I was his uncle or something. Walking in there with him underneath my arm.
Literally, like a quarter inch taller than him. So, I mean, look at those cool trophies you got. He's got behind there.
Look out.
This is an open division trophy. This will be for, adults. We have an open division too. But
cool.
This one is the junior angler trophy. It says Azul Spring Catfish Get Together 2022 Big Fish Champion, Junior Big Fish Champion. Go big or go home.
I like it.
And so we got that. Got the skunk on the boat trophy.
Now I could win that.
Wow. It's going to be fun, guys.
It looks like it's going to be a great time. And what do you got? Oh, that's some very nice decals.
That's the decal. Azul Spring Catfish Get Together 2022. Go big or go home.
Very nice.
Now, Chris, Texas is it's like a continent of its own. So whereabouts is this taking place?
So we're located in North Texas. My home lake is Lake Louisville. I fish all over Texas, but my home lake is Lake Louisville. We're holding the event April 3rd, Westlake Park, Lake Louisville, 7 a.m. So I've got guys that are going to be driving in from Oklahoma and, all over, but it's free event. Anybody's welcome. It's just we're going to try to get people to come together and introduce everybody. And I know last year we made a lot of connections where guys are still fishing together. This year they're now fishing partners and tournament anglers. And we got all levels of catfish guys fishing this thing. So guys that are professionals to, guys that are just bank anglers. One of my buddies, he got second place at the Cat Masters is Trent Hall. He'll be fishing there. And he's a guide, but he also is a tournament angler, and we have pretty good catfish tournament series here in Texas, and I think it's probably national now, but it's called the Cat Masters, and he got second, which I think is incredible because some of the best anglers in the country were fishing that tournament, and it was poor conditions, and they were able to get it done. So he'll be there, and I think the name of their guide service is Extreme Trophy Fishing Guide Service. So check those guys out if you come into Texas. I've got another guide buddy of mine that's giving away a free guide trip for this event. I'm going to give it to haven't decided yet. We're probably either going to give it to the junior angler who catches the biggest fish, or maybe last year we gave it to the junior angler that caught the smallest fish. So, some of these guys that can go catch a big fish, they might not necessarily need a guided trip. So we may just give it to one of the kids that doesn't, less fortunate of anglers.
For the guys that don't know, can you explain where Lake Livingston is?
Lake Louisville. So it's north of Dallas, DFW. We're about 30 miles north of Dallas. It's a big lake. It's a real big lake. It used to be probably the best flathead lake in the country when I was a kid. The world record came out of there at one point. It's a shadow of that lake now, but it used to be a really good blue cat lake as well. But some of these lakes have been really done wrong with these pay lakes. They've come in from other places and they'll jug these big fish out, and certain time of year if you throw out 200 jugs, you're going to clean them out pretty good. And these guys would come in with like tanker trucks and haul all our big fish back up to these pay lakes. And so I think it's starting to recover a little bit, but it's kind of a sad deal there, man. Hate to see that, but hopefully they'll get that stuff outlawed.
We all complain about that throughout the United States, except for the states, and I'm not going to go into that, but the ones that feel like it's okay to do that, the people have to figure out how to get rid of those people out of their that's in charge. You just got to figure out how to get rid of them.
I don't know how
you do.
Done,
you're not going to get anything done.
From North Carolina, and he's like, man, they got this pay lake down the road, and they've got trophy catfish in it. I'm like, where do you think they're pulling those things out of? And they don't live too long in a 10-foot deep lake. And
no, they don't.
I mean, you catch that thing 3 or 4 times, he's so stressed out, he's dead. I mean,
that's right.
And they don't really feed them. I hear guys say on Facebook, oh, it's a great opportunity for young people that don't get to catch one, or old people that can't get out on the water. And my buddy said, man, it's just a gambling thing. There's not hardly any old people or young people in there. They just go in there to have these gambling type.
Yeah. If they're think it's such a good place, then why don't they talk their conservation department in to open them up, or make them use farm raised fish instead of trophy catfish?
I agree.
That is one of the things.
Some of those types of places in Texas, and they use farm raised like channel cat.
There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is
he's not going to catch it.
One of the issues is calling them trophy fish. If you've got to call them breeders, because the more you call them trophy fish, the more they think that it's okay to take them out. Breeding size fish is a whole different term.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we try to teach these kids at this tournament is, the importance of not just responsible harvest, because we do have a fish fry, so we are eating some of it, but we don't keep anything over 5 pounds. We try to teach them the importance of putting the big ones back, because those are the ones that are breeding and protecting the nest, and those are the ones with the big genetics. Not every catfish has the genetics in him to become big. Some of them going to get to 24 inches, and that's as big as they're going to get. They don't all get to 50 pounds if you just let them grow. And if you keep pulling those big ones out, eventually it'll be kind of where my lake is at, where it's 20 or 30 pounds is pretty good fish. And you might catch one. I fish it every week. I may catch 150 the whole year. And you go to a different lake like Tawakoni, and 50 pounders kind of, you can expect to catch one on a good day,
No, Kevin made a good point. People have to care about the fish to change, and
that's exactly right.
It's very true. And there's people like us in the community, and what we try to put out there. And if you can change 1 out of 10, you're doing good.
I think when you try to put yourself out there, sometimes it draws people to attack you a little bit, and
oh yeah,
my friends are like, dude, you're doing a great job. You just got to keep plowing through. And some of these people, you are never going to change their mind. They've been set on keeping those big fish. It's like bread. My dad used to keep them. And when I was a kid, we would keep them up until I was, probably 12 or 14 years old. And when I got big enough to go get them myself, I told my dad I kept one big fish. I said, this is the last one you'll ever get from me. So enjoy it, because they're all going back in the lake after this. And so the last 30 something years, I've released every one of them.
And that's what it takes. You got to try to educate the people. Some of them cannot be educated, and most of those people, I feel like, are over the top of some conservation areas in some of the states that we all live in. My state is very good about getting regulations done. Just takes them a while. I want to welcome Steve Douglas into the chat tonight. William Warner, Quiet Man Curtis, Josh, the Weekend Angler, Carl Wells. Carl Wells says he thought, pardon me, I got a sneeze coming. Thought he heard someone say north of Dallas. The one he's aware of is north of Houston.
No, we're a long ways from Houston. Houston's
Okay.
4 hours.
I think he lives down around Houston area someplace. They fish a lake down there and catch a lot of small fish to take home and eat. Which, in our lake, the Ozarks and Truman and the waterways where they passed the regulations and the stuff, they doubled the limit on the undersized fish. Then there's a slot, and then you only get 2 overs. But they doubled the number that you can keep of unders, so you actually keep more fish. And I think that's a very notable way of doing things.
Yeah, they call them eaters for a reason, guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
They call them trophies for a reason. To make a taco out of Tuesday night tacos out of a trophy is a crime in my eye. And there's plenty of eaters. You can catch those things all day long, and why not? Use those as if you're going to eat them, you're not going to. If you put all the big ones back, there will be a gazillion eaters to be taken. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's one of the things that I learned from a buddy of mine, Mark Blavel, is talking about, when a fish becomes mature enough to reproduce, how much per pound, as they get bigger, that they are creating more life. And that just astonished me of how many fry that they produce as they get bigger based off of their size and age and stuff. And it was just like that, never had heard anything like that before. And like you're just saying, and I love what Lyle was saying about the slots part of it, which I know they do with different species in different states and stuff like that. But I would love to hear something like that.
So
and to be enforced.
Slot limits on our lakes, and they just pulled most of them. That we have, Texas has some weird laws, and they categorize different lakes as trying to be up and coming trophy fisheries, and so they'll put different regulations on different lakes. Lake Tawakoni's got a different set than Lake Louisville, then has different set than Lake Ray Roberts. So it's kind of weird, guys. I don't even know it's hard to keep up with all these dang regulations. And I just say, it's supposed to be something like a fish over 20 inches. You can't have more than 10 of them, but some lakes, it's only 5 of them. I said, well, that's a 5-pound fish. So just for me, I just turn them off. Anything over 5 pounds, I'm just going to start turning them loose. And that's pretty easy for me to follow the regulation. And that's what we've done this last year.
Here's my question, though, is this is the way the state of Kentucky does it. You have your statewide regulations, but every lake has just what you're saying right there. They have, bass over, it must be over 12 inches. You can keep 1 or 5 or something like that, regular crappie, whatever. But there's a sign posted at the daggone boat ramp, or there's ways to find out that information. And just like what you're saying, there might be 250 lakes in Texas, and every one of them be different. But you can find out what the regulation is for that lake pretty easy.
And it's really up to the expert to know what the law is on each lake. And I'll tell a guy, hey man, especially when we had the slot limit, I'd see him catch a big fish. I'm like, you're over the slot. You're in the slot. You got to. That's fish. Needs to be put back in the lake. And they would just laugh at me.
But that's the thing. There's a reason why these regulations are put on lake by lake. They're out there doing studies on these lakes.
Yeah.
Determining, what to do to get the fish bigger.
I think the last 10 years, they've really studied the blue catfish a lot more, and they know a lot more about the life cycle and the breeding age. And, they used to say it's 24 inches before they could spawn. Now they say it's 20 inches or something like that. But if they're big enough to spawn, then put them back. I mean, that's the way I look at it. There's plenty of 2 to 5 pounders. You go catch 30 of those things. How many fish could you eat? I mean, if you need more, just go catch some more. They're pretty easy to catch. That size.
Right.
30 fish you got it. That's a lot of fish to be eating.
A lot of cleaning.
That's a lot of cleaning. But really, you could fill your freezer up for the year with
Yeah, definitely.
one or two trips, when you're hitting them like that. But
I was discussing it with my buddy today. He's like, "Oh, I think it's great. Lake Tawakoni is probably our best fishery in Texas. We got Tawakoni and Texoma. Those are our big two. So if you're going to go for a 100-pounder, you go to Texoma. But Tawakoni's got so many fish from the 40 to 70-pound range. It's just crazy, guys. But my friends are like, you go to Tawakoni, I think it's great. Everybody's turning them loose. And I'm like, every time I go there, I'm at the cleaning station and I see these guys cleaning these freaking monsters. And I'm like, guys, what are y'all doing? They're like, oh, we come to fill the freezer and we don't stop until we get a whole freezer full and then we go home. I'm like, well, can you just keep the eaters? I mean, but whatever. Some guys they just
teach their own, To some, I mean, and let's be honest. To some families, everything they catch is an eater because they need it.
I can kind of understand that. My dad came from the generation of you keep everything. I mean,
I know that generation too. I had it. I've argued till I'm blue in the face with my brother.
So, it's really made a change in the paradigm. Seems like in the last 5 years, more than even 10 years ago when I was fishing these blues, it was there was still a lot of guys keeping the big fish, but here we are, 2022, and I'd say the majority of guys are turning them loose now. So I think we're headed in the right direction, but there's still that certain number of guys that are just can kill a fishery, really.
Well, I think the presence of stuff the explosion of YouTube, before we had, a couple hundred people watching Catfish Weekly on a Monday night, and we didn't have all these other shows. We had people watching Chris Flores and Steve Douglas, and there was a handful of people that was really YouTubing back then. Now you have a much larger presence. You've got people coming in by the dozens every day to the community that we can help.
Heck, Lyle's still feeling a little under the weather. It's
we'll make
it makes a lot of people sick not being as good looking as me.
Oh my God.
I didn't even really know about this catfish community, guys, but I was making little YouTube videos just for my family so that I could have something to go look back on. And Jeremy's Tournament Cats, he found me and he's like, hey man, you got to start coming into this live community. It's pretty cool. I can see that you know what you're doing. So he brought me in, and this community's welcomed me with open arms. I've only been making these videos about a year, but I've been getting this live stream stuff about 4 months, and it's like I found my home. It's just a different group of people, even though we're from all different walks of life. It's everybody they share the same passion for catching these fish, and you got that common ground. It's pretty cool to be able to find this many cool people that are doing the same types of things, and everybody's doing a little bit different. It's we do it a little different in Texas, and the guys that are doing it in South Carolina, from the guys doing it up in Virginia. So I think it's interesting to watch other guys, the way they do it, and they've welcomed me in with open arms, and I think it's awesome what you guys are doing too.
Yeah.
Steve, I've been watching Steve Douglas for a long time, and he came on my channel the other day. I'm a little tiny YouTube channel with 365 subscribers or something. He came in there watching my videos, and where else can you go talk to your idol about catfishing and ask questions?
One of the things about going live is there's no editing. And I think that appeals to a lot of people, because I know there's guys like Keith that he loves to edit.
Some guys are really good at it.
I find it very repulsive to have to edit a video. Although I don't like going, I just hate it because it takes up so much time that I could be doing something else.
Yeah.
But the better quality videos are always edited videos. They just are. They're just better. The live stuff attracts a lot of people. to do them, and it attracts a lot of people to watch them because everybody doesn't want to watch a football game or something else on a Sunday afternoon, but they like watching somebody land fish.
I'm the same way, and I just enjoy talking to people while I'm on there, while I'm watching them catch fish. Or, I think it's pretty cool that you can sit there and chat with your buddy across the country while watching somebody else catch fish. You might be doing chores or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And, stop in and out, and you don't have to sit there and watch the whole time, or you can stop in and say, "Hey, I'm back, guys."
I have to tell you a little story. It happened last summer. Mark with Catfish and Crappie was having trouble with his live feed. And James Dockery and I got to go in and host that show, and he couldn't hear anything we was saying. And we had a field day with him. It was extremely enjoyable, and he had a bunch of people watching, so he wasn't going to shut it off. And James and I just had our way with him, and they don't get no better than that.
Yeah, it's fun. Some guys are hardly even watching the show; they're in there talking to their friends, and
that's right.
Yeah,
kind of a meetup joint or whatever,
Yeah,
that's what's made it fun. Like you said,
people that are really into what you're doing and watching it, and I think that's cool too. They're guys are like, "Oh man, I saw you last week and y'all were smoking them or whatever." That was really cool to see y'all do that live, and I think it's fun. It's just it adds it's another layer to fishing. I didn't really even understand lives until I got in one, and I was like, man, this is cool. I'm gonna start watching these, and then they're like, dude, you catch a bunch of good fish. Why don't you go live? So I started going live, and then I started making more and more friends, and they started sharing me out, and I start sharing them out. Before you know it, it's grown into a little something. I'm still a little small channel, but we're trying. We're having fun with it.
Got to start somewhere. But I think I saw somebody post in here earlier that they were the only person that apparently spoke Spanish that knew what this was.
That's one thing I was worried about when I took because in my catfish community, that's what the guys were calling me, El Gato Azul. That's the blue cat. And they're like, man, you might want to change your name because some of these other guys that aren't, half people in Texas, we know Spanish. I mean, you got to know Spanish. But they're like, you might want to change your name. The guys are going to think you're Hispanic or something. I'm like, it's too late, man. It's part of who I am now.
I was going to say, why change? I mean, to me, it's no different. Well, it's a bit different, but what we were talking about earlier about like the whole commercial ball game is trying to educate people. You know what? You're going to teach us something else. If that's words I didn't know before. I'm going to take that as a win because I feel educated today. Lyle won't remember it because let's face it, he won't remember tonight when he wakes up tomorrow. But I'll be here to remind him what it means, and it's the blue catfish, right?
Right, and some of my friends are like, I don't know what that means, but it sounds cool.
I thought it sounded pretty cool.
I'm like, cool.
Chad just changed his name.
I roll with it,
Steve Douglas says if you come to the Catfish Conference, you will see about 5,000 like-minded catfishermen.
Yeah, I know, Steve. I wish you guys would get a little closer to my home. We got a lot of catfishermen down here deep south too. So I know you kind of stay in the heart of catfish country, but hopefully one of these days you take this thing across the country to someone's a little closer. Getting all the way over there for a catfish conference, not easy with a 6-year-old.
It's starting to spread out a little bit more. We had the Kansas City one. I think they're planning another one, and with COVID and all that kind of stuff. Right now, I'm sure they're trying to see what happens with everything, and I'd expect more out of that.
The only problem, my wife would kill me when I came home with a bunch of gear that I didn't know. I've got a gazillion pieces of catfish gear. I already.
Oh, sorry, Lyle. I didn't mean to.
No, that's okay. Mark said he's going to let me and James do that again. Yeah, right. that is never going to happen again.
But right here, this was a great comment talking about the your name and stuff. Nobody besides Chris Souders, before coming out with Slunger Cat, there ain't nobody and her brother that knew what slunger meant, and now it's it's a term used throughout the community. So
I never heard of sweet doggy till I was listening to Has Life.
Hold up, no, we cannot give anything no script related any kind of publicity on this channel anymore.
That's my boy Ken. He's a local guy from around here. He came to my catfish get together last year. What's up, Ken?
Ken says we have to teach kids is easier, but it never hurts to try and educate adults also. But it is how we do it. Can't make them mad. Expect them to give facts and non-offensive ways. That's some of the most true words ever been spoken.
100%,
man. I mean, that's not the easiest thing to get across to guys. They don't want to be told. They want to be.
Well, I mean,
you can't cuss the people that makes the laws. All they do is sit back there and laugh at you and say, "We got you by the short hair, Jack. Just keep it running your mouth, and we're going to make it harder and harder and harder to get anything done." And that's what they do.
Yeah, if people would work on their approach, whether it be like what you're saying to our resource officers and the DNRs and stuff like that, or the people in the community, not saying the YouTube community, but the catfish community that are keeping those type fish. I seen a comment earlier of, what do you say to commercial fishermen? I've had conversations with guys right there on the boat ramp.
Yeah.
And it's not, I don't go out there and call them a bunch of, this and that. And they're not going to listen to that.
No,
I've had some conversations with some fishermen
too.
They don't like to hear about catfish conservation.
And most of them, they might have a conversation with you, and they're never going to change their ways, just like you said earlier.
Yeah, most of them will tell you, the catfish only lives for 15 to 20 years. You might as well keep that big fish. He's about to die.
That's false.
I said, that's old information, buddy. They stocked Tawakoni in 1989. Those fish are 70 pounds now, and they are continuing to grow. In 1989, how old does that make the fish? It makes it a little older than 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
That's proven wrong. I mean.
Yeah, they grow at least to be 30. And in some places, a lot older than that. And they never stop reproducing. That's another force that people say, well, once they get so big, they don't have any more eggs and they're not fertile if they do. Very false. And all that information that I tell you about is on the Missouri Conservation website. If you can't find it, send them a message. They'll head you to any direction they got. They have information about all of that stuff. And the people that say that stuff is not true don't look hard enough to find the correct information.
No.
Yes. Those biggest, baddest males, they go get the biggest, baddest female. They go produce. And when she's done, they leave the nest and go get them another one. And
that's exactly right.
Her back to the nest.
That's right.
2 or 3 times. The breeding season is not just 2 weeks. I mean, keep going. They're not all on the exact same cycle. And if you take that big male, he's the one that's doing all the protecting. It's to me, it's doesn't make sense. The guys are pulling them off their nests. And
well, they tried that in Missouri 1 year, and that took it off. It'll never return.
Great.
Forcing them fish off them nests and when they're spawn is the most detrimental thing next to commercial fishing that you can do to
I
catfish.
agree, man. I was on Tawakoni last summer, and divers diving the humps. It's a place called Holiday Hump. They were diving with dive gear down onto the rocky ledge and pulling these giant blues out of their holes. It's like, oh, look what I caught, And then, I mean, they thrash that nest when you're pulling them out of there. It's not like
they tear it up. It ain't nothing to go back to.
Yeah, it's not. The other little fish will move right in there and eat it as soon as you yank that big one out of there. So
that's exactly right.
I don't know how they got that passed in Texas, but that should probably be changed soon, hopefully.
I agree. And the other thing that I find extremely repulsive, pardon me, guys, is the fact that they allow them to bow shoot catfish in the state of Illinois. Whoever got that done needs to be admitted to a mental institution. That's the most wrong thing that you can do when you're trying to save breeding size fish. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And the lady that's over top of the fisheries department in Illinois, we had her scheduled to do a show with us, and as soon as they passed that law, she has refused to do one since, and didn't come on that time, and it won't even talk to you about doing a show again because she has to know that I'm going to set her ass on fire if I ever get a chance to. That's just the way it is.
You know, we all probably, most of us grew up hunting and doing all that, but to go out and just shoot a bunch of stuff and then just go dump it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. Even if it's not a catfish, you're going to go shoot all these carp and buffalo and gar, and you don't even do anything with it. You just go dump it. And people say, oh, yeah, we give them to the needy. That's not true. They're dumping most of that stuff over somewhere. It's not getting not.
I don't understand it.
Right,
I want to thank everybody for the thumbs up. We've got 77 tonight, 116 in here. If you guys wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. It's very important to us to get the numbers, whether it be thumbs up or people in chat or people to join our show, so we continue to have quality guests like this. And I will try harder not to get too carried away with this stuff, but some of it really does kind of chat my butt.
I'm sorry to bring up some of this.
No, it's okay.
No, I mean it does make for good conversation, and we can have a good, healthy conversation about it. But let's twist it back here towards Mr. Elgato and his YouTube and fishing. So how long have you been doing YouTube now?
YouTube, this is my second year. Will be coming up in March. It took me a while to get going. Like I said, I started just making kind of montage with my pictures and whatnot. But then about a year ago, I started making videos. I started getting friendly with some other guys that were fairly successful at making them, and they helped me kind of get it off and going. So that was one of the hardest things, was getting the actual stuff caught on video. I mean, I can't tell you how many big fish I lost trying to video these things. I lost way more of them. It was
that's my excuse too.
Like, am I trying to be a video guy or am I a fisherman? Because this is killing my fishing.
Yeah, I'm just too embarrassed to release. I'm just too embarrassed to release all the, fish that I've lost trying to record at the same time. So, I just call them skunk days. So nobody has to see that.
But
like every time something really good happens, the camera's not on, or it was just like. Eventually, I was like, I'm gonna stop doing this for a little while, and I put it down, and then I was like, no, I got to get this thing ironed out. So, like with anything, man, it's practice and time doing it, and eventually it just started getting a little bit easier, and I started watching other guys and what they're doing, and there's successful channels like Kevin Palmetto Cats. He did a video the other day on editing that I watched, and
that's very well done.
My buddy Killer B Outdoors, he fished with me yesterday, and we caught almost 500 pounds of fish. But he's a police officer. Big props to him. But
yeah,
he was a police officer. He was a photographer, so his videos are they're like art. He catches big sharks on kayak and bull reds, big blue catfish, you name it. If they're big, he catches them, and he's kind of helped me figure some of this stuff out. So I appreciate what he's done for me. But it's not just him; it's a lot of different guys. I can't even think of them all that I'm pulling stuff from. Trying to, oh, that's cool. I'm gonna try that on one of mine, and eventually it's starting to get ironed out a little bit better. And it took a while to kind of get going, but it's starting to get a little easier.
I just want to share the good stuff, Chad. Just the good stuff.
You keep it up, and I'm going to take the right from you.
Take the what?
You may own this, the rights to this, but I'm going to take the rights away from you if you don't behave.
Here's one of the best statements of the night. Keep it fun and drama free. You will succeed. I agree 100%.
Yeah, I agree too, man. I've been fishing a lot more with guys just on the boat that are fun to fish with and that, enjoy, have an enthusiasm for catching big fish like I do. I see a lot of guys that are catching these fish on video and they're very just la-di-da when they catch one. And I'm like, I can't understand that, man. I've been catching these things since I was 14 years old and I still get fired up for every big fish. I mean, I'm stumbling over the rods and trying to get to the reel as fast as I can get to that thing to get it hooked up. And to me, it never gets old. It always makes me feel like a kid when I catch one, or when one of my friends catches one, or when I got a kid catching one. It's a level of joy and excitement that it's really hard to reproduce in anywhere else.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Chad's got a young daughter coming up. You've got a young son coming up, and I've got grandkids coming up. If we don't get a handle on what these clowns are doing to our river waterways now, by the time they're our age, it's going to be a real mess.
I agree. That's part of the reason why I've kind of tried to educate the next guys coming up and spread that good, spread the good word and what's the right way to do it. And hopefully, I mean, it seems like things have really, the paradigm has shifted, guys. It's going in the right direction. And it's happened a lot faster than you could have really ever expected because
just not fast enough to suffice everyone.
There's a lot of guys coming in, I think
that's helping.
If we can get the new guys coming in, because I can't tell you how many guys are like, oh, I just started blue catting. I just started blue catting and I really appreciate what you've been doing. And if you can try to get those guys to think the right way and to do the right thing, it'll be fine. It's, the guys that are out there hauling all the big fish out, they're a dying breed. They're going to be gone. I mean, and
they'll be the first to complain.
But at some point, that way of thinking is going to be gone. I think probably here in the next 10 years.
They will be the first to complain when all the big fish are missing.
I know it. Yep. I mean, like you said, we just need to keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully that we continue with the positive change and this thought method and this community continues to grow and spread the word. And the bigger it gets, the better it'll be. We'll see what happens. Like you said, within 10 years. Wait a minute. Sorry, Jody. Killing me, lady. Yeah, talking about sucking my thumb totally threw my conversation off of what I was saying. But yeah, that's where it came from. But no, hopefully it does continue. And I think this, along with some of the other avenues, because there is more than just YouTube. People, apparently the TikTok and Instagram and all that other stuff is exploding as well.
Yeah, I don't even know what that stuff is, but guys are like,
trust me,
TikTok,
don't do it. When somebody sends you video after video after video and you finally click on one, you're going to go down a rabbit hole you don't want to go down. So just
really
stick with YouTube. Have fun with it. Yeah, I'm loving what you're doing right now.
So
you're a great steward of the sport. So
I was talking to Tim Scott, and he said, I said, man, it seemed like YouTube's putting up these blockers. When I hit a certain number, they'll just not let me have any more for a while until I can kind of break through. It's like a barricade they put up. He's like, man, when I hit 2,500 or 2,000 or 2,500, they put up the biggest barricade, and I couldn't break through that thing until I started doing these TikTok videos, and one of them got 1 million views with this giant catfish he caught. He's like, you got to start doing TikTok. And I talked to it with my buddy. I'm like, right now YouTube's hard enough to try to get figured out. Now I got to do multiple platforms. It's not for me, man.
Well, it sounds to me like, you're going to grow into something, but you're in it for the right reason. You're having fun, no matter, like yesterday, you might have caught 500 pounds of fish, but they were ranging from everything, and you loved every one of them. You got excited over all of them, and we get so caught up sometimes catching the big one that we forget the value of the small ones, and
yeah,
we really do.
A lot
I
of
mean,
stock in those. For me, a good fish is 20 pounds. If I can get one that's 20 pounds, or somebody on the boat can get one that's 20 pounds, that's a victory. And if we can get one that's in the 30s, that's a pretty dang good trip. And if you get one in the 40s, that's awesome. But when we had a trip like yesterday, and I could have another friend of mine there to share that with me. I told Bill yesterday, I said, Bill, we're bonded for life now, buddy. The type of trip we had today, we will always remember this trip.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool that fishing has a way of bringing people together and bonding you and making it a lifelong type friendship. I've met so many guys that I invited to come fish on the boat, and we ended up hammering them that day. And they're like, wow, thanks, man. I owe you. And I've never accepted anything from somebody really that's come on the boat, but I said, I'm going to be out here, and I appreciate to be able to share this, the feeling that you get when you're hammering these fish. It's cool to be able to share that with other people. And I'm trying to get other guys to try to do that. And I encourage people to take somebody else fishing that doesn't get to maybe do it, very often, or had never got to catch a big fish. If you're good at catching big fish, invite somebody on the boat that doesn't maybe get to do that all the time. And you'd be surprised at the impact that just catching that big fish has on somebody's life forever. I mean, it'll change your life catching a big fish like that.
That's correct. What do you say we give away a couple of stickers?
Do it.
We have some title weights and sinkers from Brad Caudell. I have it pulled up. We'll start collecting comments, and we'll get it going right here.
Well, Kevin, here's your chance to win one since Brad hasn't sent you one yet. So, yeah, I really did enjoy yesterday there, Chris. What I could watch of it, I'll definitely be tuning in some more. Let's hide that comment there, Mr. Lyle.
I'm sorry?
I was just taking it down so the folks at home could see the stickers, no hashtags. All you got to do was put in stickers in the chat.
Just stickers. I forgot the hashtag.
It's okay. It works, son.
Yeah. It'll be.
Sir, not son. Sorry.
Yeah, I got you.
I ain't that old.
Are you sure?
Whew. Well, if you shaved, I told you, I seriously think you and Dockery could probably shave and are short enough to get into Chris's tournament down there. And if they're in the northern part of Texas, that shouldn't be that far of a drive for you.
Dockery hits me right about here.
We got open.
He does not. He's not Chris Lee.
We take all in.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I think that you guys got a great thing going on. And, Chris, if there's anything that we at Catfish Weekly can do to help you promote that, please don't hesitate to let me know.
Thanks, Lyle. I appreciate you, buddy.
We got to keep these kids going. I mean, that's just the way it is. They're the future of not just this sport, but any other sport. So
you see less and less kids playing outside these days. When we were kids, everybody was outside. Fishing, and we all met down at the lake. And it's rare to see that these days. It's hard to even go down a neighborhood and see kids out in the yard playing football
very rare.
Hey, Chris, how would folks get a decal, an El Gato Azul decal?
You can email me. If you want a decal, you can email me at elgatoazultv@yahoo.com.
Thank you, Ray Smith. Thank you so much.
Hopefully one of the mods got that and can put that in the chat.
If you're going to ask for a sticker, you better subscribe to my channel.
Yeah, I would require they send you a screenshot of their subscription to your channel.
And not just that, guys. YouTube has been killing my new subs when I come on like a live stream and they'll share you out. They'll come send a comment or watch a little bit of a video and for whatever reason, YouTube just boots them. I don't know what the deal is with that, but try to watch a little bit of a video at least if you're going.
Absolutely. Thumbs up, comment, watch some at least a couple minutes of each of the video before it'll stick. That's normal YouTube stuff, Chris, that I've seen people gain 50, 70, 80 subs in one day and wake up the next morning and they're completely gone. You know,
wiped out.
I got 140 and I think 35% stuck.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I mean,
yes,
it was people that they unsubbed Bill, one of my best friends. He said, "Man,
that's crazy.
They've unsubbed me 10 times in the last week and a half." I'm like, I resub. They boot me. I don't get it. It's like he's like, they're out for you, man. I'm like,
yeah, I think it was.
I'm not really gonna worry about it. I'm just,
you just keep plugging away, and it'll work its way out. We say we give these decals away.
Let's do it. But yeah, I think it was Big Mike. I had to sub to him like 4 times before
they kicked me off Big Mike's channel too, and he's one of the guys that kind of helped me get some things figured out when I first started trying to do these live streams. And he's a really good dude. Salt of the earth, nice, friendly, really friendly dude. I appreciate our friendship that we've built, just an online fishing friendship, but it's cool, man.
Absolutely. Winner is Frontline Flatheads. Congratulations. Send me a message after the show with your shipping address, and I will get them out to you tomorrow. What do you say we do that one more time, fellas?
Oh, I like that. Twice? Oh.
Twice. Here we go. And Don R., you are the second winner. Congratulations.
All right.
And, has it caught up there yet? I guess not. I went a little bit ahead of time.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
All right. But that'll get that done for tonight. And Chris, man, we can't thank you enough for coming in here and sharing your knowledge and information with us about your upcoming event and the way you've been out there catching and tearing up fish, you and your son and a guest yesterday. And, man, it was awesome to watch you guys. And, like I say, if there's anything we can do to help you, please don't hesitate to give me a message. I'll be glad to help you any way we can.
Thanks, Lyle. I've enjoyed coming on here with you guys, and I've been watching y'all, but it's cool to be able to come on here and talk to you guys. And I really appreciate, what you guys are doing and helping out other anglers and spreading the knowledge. And you guys are doing a great job. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And that's what we started this for nearly 8 years ago, and we're going to keep doing it for a while. I don't see any slowing down. Now that I got the Chad to help me out,
after 7 years, it's basically, you can't stop now, right? It's become a habit by now.
Well, I'm going to stop one of these days, but somebody will carry on.
You're going to stop posting these hateful comments about me, but other than that,
I'll try to do better. I wasn't near as many tonight.
Sure.
Again, Chris, thank you so much. I want to remind everybody to make sure you tune in to Mark's podcast, Catfish and Crappie, which is coming on next with Eric Massey as his guest. Should be a great show. Eric's a great jig builder, and he'll have a lot of quality information. And Chad, tell us about what's coming up next week for everybody to watch.
Let's see what's coming up for next week.
Oh, this week. I'm sorry.
This week. All right. So tomorrow night, we got the Bullock Experience. I'm sure we'll have a show. We got Muskrat Adventures at 8 p.m. Wednesday night, we got Patriot Catfishers of America. And we got Docktails with LG Bass and Pontoon Jody on LG Bass's channel. Thursday night, we have the Bait Shop on Fields to Water. Followed by Mr. Lyle and Mark on Panfish Nation right after that at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's God's time, or 8 p.m. Central. That's God's time -1. And then we have Friday night, I think, is Stan. Saturday night, who knows? Sunday night, we got Avid, which had a pretty good show last night.
Enjoyed that very much. Yeah, I was a little concerned. I haven't been feeling really well, but we had a good time with Tim not being able to hear me. I kind of say what I want, and he could defend anything. So
Yeah, that's a good show.
it was a lot of fun. We enjoyed that. Thank you guys for watching us. It means the world to us that you would jump in here and spend your Monday evenings with Chad and I and our guests. So we really appreciate it.
I guess I'll give them one shout out, Lyle. Apparently Wednesday they will have the second, it's like second rated next to the bait shop. But they'll have a no script on Wednesday night. I mean, if you guys are bored and feel sorry for them because they don't keep it as classy as the bait shop, go over and check them out.
Absolutely. Bunch of good guys over there. No telling what you'll hear though. I mean,
I might have to stay up to watch this one because I'm getting some private messages, and now it's spilling over to Facebook land.
Hey, there's Tim. He just made it in. Good to see everybody. Thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to check out Mark's show. It's coming on right now.